everybody. Welcome back to episode 117 on this Saturday night. We're back. We weren't sure if we were going to have time to post today with our move now less than a week away.
You said we're back, and I'm like, where did we go?
Yeah.
You just mean from last time.
We're back from last time.
God.
We got our second vaccine, as you saw,
We did.
yesterday, and we're feeling fine. So our arms were a little bit sore, but other than that, so far so good, knock on wood. So we weren't actually sure with stories of people feeling like they felt like they had the flu or achy or just feeling gross. Yeah. So luckily,
runny nose, sneezing.
Yep. Luckily, we have not had anything. So we still took it ezy today.
I'm a little disappointed because I thought that we had a kind of built-in excuse.
Perfect excuse. You're like, I can't pack anything else this weekend because
Although a lot of people say, well, it takes a 24 hours maybe before you feel anything. Well, first of all, we felt the pain in the arm right away, so like within 5 or 6 hours. So we had a side effect.
Yeah.
So I don't think that necessarily would be the case. But anyway, we're well past 24 hours. It's, roughly, 32 hours,
right.
I would say. I had to check the time. Yeah, it's about that because it was around noon yesterday, our time. Anyway, the point is, I don't really think it's going to get any worse.
Yeah, I don't either.
But then, it kind of... Like we were driving back and I said, well, maybe I should call my boss and say one of the side effects is I don't feel like working anymore today.
Yeah.
But,
and I'm done.
so, normal people would be grateful that they didn't have bad side effects. I'm disappointed. Not really, but, I don't want to feel crappy, but it's just been nonstop craziness. At least since the beginning of April, really.
Yes.
But our lives are always kind of crazy, but especially since the beginning of April. And so I thought this was a weekend off. Just like, we gotta, we have the kids are around. They can do the work this weekend. We're just going to hang out with the cats and watch TV.
Yeah.
Didn't quite work out that way.
So we might have to do some more work tomorrow.
Unless the side effects don't kick in until then. And then tomorrow morning, we'll have to see.
Yeah. The stained glass looks really pretty.
Normally
it's much later and dark out, so it's still light outside.
Well, I think it's the time, boy, I can't even talk. That's a side effect.
Okay.
I can't talk. I think it's just because the sun is up a little bit later because we're doing it at the normal time.
Oh, I guess that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're not at that point where it's the longest amount of daylight, right? So it's still increasing. That's, I don't know. It's our little science corner.
It is a science
corner.
For the
day.
I just think it looks like so much like bluer and purpler. Purpler, is that a word? More purple?
But I noticed that the last time I thought it was a little bit. And if you look at, we have we close all the curtains because we don't want anything to do with any of these people. That's not true. But we do close the curtains because it'd be a little awkward sitting here talking into a microphone. If somebody happened to be walking their dog past the house, they would
they'd be like, what's going on there?
But there's a curtain open in the back, and it's still,
it's still pretty light
there's a little bit of light out. It's not dark.
Right.
Anyway, so we have a big family sort of get-together. Now that just about everybody is vaccinated, we're going to have a get-together in June with people in my family who are, as I said, basically all vaccinated. One of my sisters has kind of a significant birthday, so we're going to do that kind of thing. And my brother-in-law, well, really, I guess it really came from both of them, but my brother-in-law and sister sent around an email, just kind of as an invitation and rattling off all of the things that we've missed, that we haven't had any get-togethers for. Our 25th anniversary, there have been a number of, from our youngest had her 25th, our oldest had her 25th birthday, our youngest graduated high school, all these kind of things. But it's like, and there are 70th birthdays, there are 65th birthdays, there are 60th birthdays.
40th birthdays.
Yeah, you get to the next generation, 45th, 40th, 35th, all these things. Really insane.
It is really insane.
Really insane. The list is
married, babies.
Right,
right. Just so crazy.
Yeah, we had people get married and, they had to do the tiny little ceremonies and all that sort of thing. So it's just, it's been crazy, but we're finally at a point where we can actually kind of all get together. So
I know,
that's
it's going to be very weird.
Or we will be, because actually, technically, we're not fully vaccinated yet.
That's true.
Because you have to get the second one and wait 14 days.
Yes.
And our kids, our youngest has actually passed that, but the older two will not be in that position until about the time of this party.
Yes.
So that's cool.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be weird to talk to people.
Well, it's always weird to talk to people in my family.
Although the benefit of your family, since it's so large, is that I like mingling and talking to a whole bunch of people. So it is fun to not just be stuck in a small thing where you're just trying to, make more conversation and stuff like that. You can just bebop around.
Have the same conversations with the same people over and over
25
and over
times.
again.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're referring to there.
We'll probably be the last ones to leave.
But now we have maybe not the longest drive.
Yeah.
But one of the longer drives, although there are other family members who live, my sister and brother-in-law who are hosting the party are a little more centrally located. In fact, it's great when we've been from where we are now. It's always been great when they had people over because it's 15 minutes we're there, 15 minutes we're back. Maybe a little more,
But still not far.
Right. Now it's going to be an hour. Probably not a full hour, but.
Yeah. But
so, yeah.
We'll have to get used to that, having to travel a little bit further to go. Actually, less further for some of the others that are in northern suburbs. So that's not bad.
One of my sisters lives on the south side of the city, and we're just like, well, we may not be.
That's kind of like a different state.
Yeah, we may not ever be able to see you. No, that's not true.
We were actually just talking about it because Memorial Day weekend, it would be a race that we would run on the south side of Chicago.
True. In their
called
neighborhood.
the Ridge Run, and it's a 10K, 6.2 mile run, and we used to go in our running days and when our kids were small, and
we used to do it all the time.
Yeah, and that would be like the start of our running season, kind of. Well, the Shamrock Shuffle before sometimes.
Right. But it would be on Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it started at 7 o'clock and probably 7:30 maybe.
Yeah.
Early anyway. And we'd have, even from where we are now, it would be, a 45 minute drive. So it was a long Memorial Day. It was fun, but it also meant that you had to be up super early. You didn't get the advantage of 3 days of not having to get up super early.
Although having small children, they get up early
yeah,
anyway,
that's
so
true.
it's not even like
that
anything.
Is very true.
Yeah, that you can hope for when your kids are small.
When your kids are really little, changing the clocks means nothing because you're going to be up when the sun comes up, regardless of what it says on the clock. So that was kind of nice because when we would change the clocks to get the extra hour of sleep, we didn't get the extra hour of sleep, but I would go out and run, and it would only be like 6 in the morning instead of 7 in the morning, and then get that out of the way before the day got started. So it was okay, I guess.
And I've been doing some research. One of the big hot topics for our new move to our new town is, what are we going to do for pizza?
These don't even, they're fake.
Yeah.
They don't even, they're just fake. We just pretend.
Because for those of you who don't know, we order pizza every Friday night. We have for our whole marriage, and even
doesn't
pre-dating.
Everyone? I thought that was a requirement.
It is Party Pizza Friday. But I think I found a place. It's been there since 1980. It's a family-run restaurant, Italian pizza place. So they have an app. I've already downloaded the app, put our new address in. So next Friday, we're gonna try it out and see how it goes. I was telling David I would like to introduce myself. coming to your town. And
You looked to see if they had an Instagram.
I did. They don't have an Instagram. They just have a Facebook page. But the pizza place that we've ordered from forever, where we had our rehearsal dinner at their restaurant many years ago, Sorrentos Pizza in Oak Park, shout out. I did DM them on Instagram to tell them we're leaving. This is our last week of ordering pizza.
They didn't respond.
Yes, they did. Yeah, they did.
Oh,
They did. Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I thought they did.
They just said thank you for. Let me just see what they said because I can't remember.
I'm sorry. I just besmirched them.
They did. They said.
And you probably told me, and somehow or another.
They just said, "Wow, we'll miss you then. Thanks for your years of support."
I was kind of thinking they'd say
And
free pizza from now until the day you move.
Thank you for 25 years, and the next you can order pizza every day for the rest of the time for free.
Because we would.
We would.
We have actually ordered a little bit extra
Mm-hmm.
in the past week, just with all the craziness.
And actually now that we're getting to the last week, then that's like, just getting rid of all the food in our house is kind of like what we're doing right now. So just trying to make things.
What we should have done is we should have had food spread out on the table, and we could eat while we're doing our.
Just eat.
It's our last Saturday in the house.
It is.
This house.
It is.
Then we'll be in a much nicer house.
Yes, we're very excited. There's just a lot to do from now until then. Although we have done quite a bit, so I'm not that stressed about it. But it's just like the little stuff. And we're working Monday and Tuesday. We're taking the rest of the week off. So, but that'll be busy. Like Thursday's the closing, doing a walkthrough, and going to the closing. So that'll take half the day.
A big chunk of Thursday.
A big chunk of the day. So
literally,
like Wednesday is like getting everything really.
Weekdays always go fast.
Yeah.
Seinfeld, sorry.
Just like an hour.
Yeah. It's today's practically over.
Yeah.
And weekdays go fast.
So yeah, it's just kind of like the little stuff, but then, we'll just get it done. We have helpers and obviously movers coming, which is good. We've used this company before, so they did great for us the last time. So fingers crossed.
The cats are no help though.
They have
not lifted a finger. In fact, they're usually in the middle of everything, creating problems. I said we should have named one of them Trouble.
Right.
Because every time she comes in the room, I say, "Here comes trouble."
Here comes trouble.
She's very sweet. And she's an instigator.
She is an instigator. But that's the other
Seems
thing
like
that
kind of a low energy.
We're tired.
Kind of a low energy. It's a side effect.
It is a side effect.
I do have to say one thing though, on a more like a serious kind of note.
Okay.
So we were at different stations or when we got our shots, and so I said to the nurse who was doing mine, I said, I'm glad, I don't know exactly how I phrased it, but what I was trying to say is I'm glad we're getting this over with. But it came across as I'm glad we're doing this, which is also true.
Definitely true.
And she said that, she said something along the lines of, I'm glad to hear you say that because not everybody feels that way. So we had a little conversation about that whole thing, and it was really interesting. I mean, she was talking about the frustration that she felt as a healthcare worker trying to actually save people's lives, how it became so political and divisive, and people were fighting over things that from the perspective of a nurse we're just trying to keep people alive to get through this, keep people alive long enough to get a vaccine and then hopefully kind of get back to normal. And, she was talking, it was really kind of emotional. It was funny because, you're in this very public setting and you have to kind of maintain your composure and everything like that. But it was kind of like an emotional thing. She's talking about having gone through the worst of it and working in a hospital and, all the horrible things where people obviously had to be alone. Their families couldn't visit them.
Right.
And people passing away without being able to see their families, they're saying goodbye over FaceTime and things like that. I mean, and it was just like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I kind of I was really, really aware of that, months and months and months ago when we were going through the worst of it. You kind of put that out of your mind as things get a little bit better, and then we had all this other stuff going on in our lives with our jobs and the house and everything like that. But when you talk to someone who was there on the front line when it was at its worst, they can't put it out of their minds. They're still processing and dealing with. And then she was wonderful. She wasn't like, she didn't go off on any kind of rant. It wasn't inappropriate or anything like that. I don't mean like that, but you could just tell from the seriousness of her tone, that she'd seen a lot. She'd seen people, dying without being able to say goodbye. And I think it was kind of good to be brought back to that a little bit and to realize, this is not a joke. And even though things are obviously much better now, well, I shouldn't say obviously much better now. I'm no expert. Certainly seems like things are getting better. But I think it was, it was sobering, but it was good to kind of, remember that it's not something that just, once the vaccine comes along, we should just say, well, who cares? We got through it, everything's fine. A lot of people didn't get through it. And a lot of healthcare workers, I think, are going to carry that weight for a very long time, because I don't know how you just you can't just put that aside. We can put it aside. We can say, oh, look, things are getting better. This is great. We're going to get together with family. We got this new house. Everything's great. But somebody who went through that and was there and saw the real life impact of it, I don't think they can just, I don't think you ever get past that. It's like when if you, in your own life, if you lose somebody, a family member, a friend, or whatever, you're never over it. You learn to live with it, but you're never over it. They saw these things that were way beyond what the rest of us had to deal with. And anyway,
like
it was
all
just
the time.
yeah,
so it wasn't
all
just
the time
like
for
once,
an extended period of time. They had to deal with this on a daily basis. So I'm really glad I had that conversation, even though I was just kind of making small talk. And I obviously, when she was talking about this, I was trying to be as empathetic as I could be, without really understanding it on a very personal level. But anyway, I gotta say, I'm glad that she shared that.
Yeah, definitely.
It was emotional. It wasn't like a fun conversation, but I'm really glad that she said that. And I'm also glad that she felt like it was okay to say that to me, because however I approached it, I'm not patting myself on the back, but however I approached it, she felt comfortable enough to say
share that. Mm-hmm.
Right. And I thought that was, it was a good thing in a really horrible time.
Definitely. And then I got done just maybe a minute before David did, and so I went to the waiting area. So then when David came to wait, he was telling the lady, can I sit by my wife? And she's like, you got to sit all the way over there.
I think there was some miscommunication.
Yeah, there. And so I watched David and I'm like, okay, bye. kind of thing. And so I'm texting, I'm like, okay, just let me know when you're ready.
I thought what she was trying to say was that there was she asked if it was my first or second dose, and I said second. And I thought what she was saying is that they were going to ask some questions or something like that. Like there was an exit interview. But then no one ever. So anyway,
yeah,
funny. So
it was funny. So we were just waving from across the room.
It was funny. Although I do think it may have been because there were more people close to you.
There was.
So they were trying to keep people spread out. I think that's really what it was, but it just didn't. Somehow.
Can I sit next to my wife or near my wife?
Yeah, there was a miscommunication.
It didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
Yeah.
I'm like, can I get away from you for 15 minutes?
Yeah.
15 minutes.
That's all I ask.
All I ask.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we're going to be coworkers for a long time.
Well, it's permanent now, basically. Because I figured I was one of my coworkers that I work a lot with. We were texting back and forth when this came up, and it turned out, I mentioned a few weeks ago, that my one-time boss, the guy who hired me, left the company. So I texted and said, well, we just bought a house, so I'm stuck. I'm not going anywhere now. So there you go.
Yeah, it's all good. But we were actually just kind of also thinking and being grateful, because there's so many people that had, such hardships and everything, and besides having to go part-time for a little bit with my job for a few months, other than that, we didn't have like any other issues. So thank goodness.
Right. I mean, it's weird because, this sounds, I don't mean it to sound like callous, because really just the opposite. But, for us, in some ways, this has been like, one of the better years. Not because of the pandemic, and not because we don't care about that, but it's weird that, so we went through these things like our youngest child graduating from high school. That's kind of a big deal. That's a big, it's a huge accomplishment for her, but in a way, it's kind of an accomplishment for us. We got 3 children through high school and to college. She started her freshman year of college, another big, big, big milestone. And then, your job has changed for the better. I mean, not that it was bad before, but you have a new role that is
amazing.
You like quite a bit. My job, has gotten better, and I've gotten more responsibilities and all that. And then, then we buy a house that we're leaving at the town where we grew up, which isn't like I'm not like, screw these people, I want to get out of here. But it's just going to be a better situation. So it's almost like having survivor's guilt. Like everybody suffered on some level, but we also had positive things happen that, I do feel a little almost like guilty over how good things have gone for us. But like you said, I mean, it's grateful for it.
Definitely.
But we also know how hard it's been for other people. And again, I think that's partly why I was kind of glad that this nurse sort of opened up a little bit. Because I think it's really good to be reminded, while we have all these exciting things happening in our lives, I think it's really good to be reminded that this has just been an extraordinarily difficult time for people.
Yeah. That is for sure. So
that's another side effect.
Yeah, exactly.
Pausing to think, oh my.
Yeah. So, and then lastly, before I let you go, maybe I should.
You're letting me go?
Yeah.
You're giving me a pink slip?
Yeah.
You're firing me?
Yesterday I undid my wedding dress. So I had it sealed after our wedding. And I noticed when it had like a little door that you can open it, that the seal had not stayed over the years, kind of thing, and it kind of yellowed and everything. So I knew it wasn't in pristine condition anyway.
Now you can just say it's ivory.
I could say it's ivory. So I took it out of the box, and it was fun to look at last night. Our daughter tried it on.
I'm like, what is going on here?
So that was fun. So maybe I'll show that next time, but that's a good time. So
show the dress or show
the dress.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think
and David's
you were
like,
not.
Are we getting remarried? What's happening?
I wasn't sure if you were. You said you're letting me go. You broke out the wedding dress.
After 26 years,
It's making me a little nervous.
What's happening?
Yeah.
It's all good. So anyway, we hope you have a good rest of the weekend, and we will check with you next week. So good night, everybody.